again, very welcome. And I can just say I'm happy, simply happy to see us all here connecting with the help of technology, but most important, with our hearts. And I know we are all here because we want to co-create a better world for all. And the AEIOU community is somehow of our nurturing place where we can dive deeper into the wisdom of Aroha, Ape, Ikigai, Oikos, and Ubuntu. We know that our forebears were more connected with the nature, with the Mother Earth, with the cosmic cycles, and we need to remember this indigenous wisdom, and of course combine it with the contemporary knowledge and technology we have to create a world that will serve for all. And yes, I know we are here because we want to support each other. We want to complement each other. We want to co-create something. And this is, we can say, a kind of systemic leverage point where we, as a small system, now small, but I believe it'll be bigger and bigger, when we as a system can change the bigger system that we are not satisfied with because we feel that it doesn't really serve the life, it doesn't serve the planet, it doesn't serve us. Wow. And that's why I'm so glad that we are here. And the idea of the AEIOU community of leaders germinated for a long, long time. It first got the energy from the Academy of Light. And this is this yellow heart here. Then it got the energy from the fire bearers for Aroha, Oikos, Ubuntu, from Barbara, Violeta, Mateusz. And this is this green heart here. And then each of you, by signing the manifesto and committing that you will lead in line with Aroha, Ape, Ikigai, Oikos, Ubuntu, each of you gave the energy to this community. And this is our red heart here. And the community now has 114 members. And the membership is free, not just free of charge, but also free in a way that each of us can leave the community if you decide so, just with a notice. It is free because also we know that each day in this community counts. As each of our action, each of our decision, each thought counts. Because if we are AEIOU leaders and we change the way how we think, how we feel, how we create possibilities. Then with this, also the system changes. And the community is free also in a way that each of you can invite colleagues, friends, co-workers to become part of the community. And just imagine if each of you invite 114 members, we will soon have almost 13,000 members. And this is the black heart, Ubuntu heart, Ubuntu that connects us all. Blue heart is reserved for the companies, organizations who are ready to support the community. So that's why 5 hearts here, and I'm really glad that you, each of you, is part of this community and co-creating a better world for all. And I will now pass the word to Mateusz. Mateusz is the fire carrier for Aroha. And when I first met Mateusz, it was still in Slovenia. And at that time, and still now, he is an established professor, an expert for USA and China trade relationships. And when I first met him, I felt we are very synchronized, not because of USA China relationships, but synchronized on the core values. And I can say that he is the reason that Aroha is included in the AEIOU of leadership model. So, Mateusz, the world is yours, and I'm looking forward to hear more about Aroha.
Okay, thank you very much, Sonia. Kia ora koto katoa. Warm South Pacific greetings from literally the edge of the world. So I'm currently sitting here in New Zealand. It's just a little before 7 p.m. in the evening. We're about 10 hours ahead of Slovenia and about 18,000 kilometers. But as Sonia has said, despite the distance and despite the geography, we're kind of on the same wavelength, and it doesn't feel like I'm on the other side of the world. Anyway, I will start sharing my screen. I've prepared a short presentation, and feel free to jump in. Oops, sorry about that. Okay. I hope everyone sees the slides. Before I get started, however, I did recognize a few familiar names among the participants, so I would just like to give a very, very special shout out to Ladea Godina Kosher, Alesha Mijigoy, Katja Krashkovic, Martina Brec, and Aisha Vodnik, people that I have worked closely with in one capacity or the other while in Slovenia. So a special shout out to those 5 incredible ladies. And I look forward to getting to know the rest of the participants. So as Sonia already talked about, I'll talk a little bit about the concept of Aroha and the idea behind leading with the power of love. And as you will see, Aroha is so much more than just love, right? It's not just, it's kind of love with a capital L, but it's also about compassion, empathy, and as you will see, so much more. For those of you that might not be familiar with who I am and where I'm coming from, So a little bit of a background story. I moved to Aotearoa, New Zealand in February 2018. So I've been here for about 3 years now. I'm a senior lecturer of international business at Te Herenga Waka, Victoria University of Wellington here in New Zealand. Was also fortunate enough to have spent some time in the US as a Fulbright fellow. And I'm also a visiting professor at Zhejiang University School of Management in China. I wear a couple of other hats. One of them is Vice President Marketing of the Australia-New Zealand International Business Academy, and a member of the Academy of International Business Diversity and Inclusion Task Force. So this is just a little bit of my background so that you understand where I'm coming from. And I thought that before we get started, it would be good to brainstorm a little bit about what do we think love actually means? How would we define what love is? What is love for us? And what do we think is the purpose of love? So if you have a smartphone or if you have a laptop computer, I would invite you to go to menti.com and simply use the access code. So if you go to menti.com on your smartphone or on your laptop computer, and just punch in the access code 9307 5747. Again, 93. And what I'll also do is I will in the chat, I will also post a direct link. So you can just click on this link. And let's see, what do we actually think love actually is. So if you go to the link that I've provided, or if you go to menti.com and you punch in 9307 5747, and let's see, what do we think love is? What does love mean to us? So we see 2 people already casting their votes. Love is about compassion, force of life, empathy, respect, trust, heart, denotion, connection, value. We love our kids. We love our pets. We love freedom, meaningful moments, respect. So what we see is that love has many faces and might be directed towards certain actors or objects or people. Love is an emotion. Love is an energy. Love is a value. Love is a philosophy, right? So we see that it is a very kind of complex and multidimensional concept. And in kind of talking about leadership through love and leadership based on love, it is important to understand this multitude and multidimensionality of love, which transcends values, transcends actors, transcends situations, right? But kind of the core of this group's understanding of love, as we can see, is its connection, its trust, and it is respect. Now, if we go to the second question, oh, just a second, sorry about that. And we try and think of what is the purpose of love, right? What's the biological function of love? What's the spiritual function of love? So we've talked a little bit about what love means to us. And now if we try to think of what is the purpose of love? If we are a leader, if we are a manager, if we are a human being, it's an emotion. It helps us understand, it guides us, okay. Any other purposes of love? Does it provide a sense of security, partnership? It facilitates cooperation. right? And this is a question that perhaps we are not asking ourselves or others that often, right? Love is a sense of belongingness, right? Being part of something. Love gives us safety, gives us clarity. Love gives us hope. Love fosters connections. Love helps us be resilient. That is increasingly important, particularly in these turbulent times. Love is faith, and as we will later on see, there is a very close connection between spirituality and faith on one side and love on the other. Love means growth, it means development. So as we see within this group, there are many different meanings of love, understandings of love. And we see that also this love serves a multitude of purposes. It's an energy, it's a strength, it is directed to the future, it gives us hope. And in these challenging times, it also helps us be a bit more resilient. So I wanted to kick off this session with kind of just thinking about and asking ourselves the questions, you know, what is love? What does it mean to us? And what is its purpose? So I'm going to talk now a little bit about Aroha. So the word Aroha comes from Polynesia, and it is a word associated with the indigenous people of Aotearoa, New Zealand, which are called the Maori people, which are of Polynesian descent. Those of you that might have been to Hawaii might have heard of the word aloha, which is kind of its cousin from Hawaii. Hawaiians are also Polynesian, by the way. So the word aroha or love is very close to the Hawaiian word aloha, or the Rarotongan word aroa, right? Rarotonga or the Cook Islands is also kind of one of the three corners of Polynesia. So this idea, this concept of aroha as a compounded word emanates from kind of a Polynesian cultural space, which is closely intertwined with the ocean. But in terms of kind of the prominence of this word, the word aloha is very much like, for example, in Jewish culture, the word shalom, or in the Muslim culture, the word salam, or in the Hindu culture, the word namaste, right? It is more than just a word. It is a way to greet people. It is a philosophy of interacting with others. It is a philosophy of life. And aroha can equally be positioned against those words such as shalom, salam, or namaste. Now, while it is a very short word, it actually in itself, the structure of the word hides a multitude of meanings and messages. So the word aroha originates from the core aro. And in Polynesian culture, aro means to think. It means a life principle, to pay attention, to be present, to focus, to concentrate. So we see a very strong mindfulness, presence component in the word of love. Love means being aware of who you are, of your surroundings, of other people. The word ro in turn denotes looking inwards, right? Reflecting, looking within, looking in introspect. So it denotes a high level of introspection, reflection, looking inwards, not just within yourself, but looking inwards into other people, their soul, things that are not obvious to the eye. Ha denotes life. So aroha as love is also a life force. It is a life force that gets passed on with every breath. It is a life energy, very much like qi in Chinese Chinese culture. And Oha in the end denotes generosity, prosperity, abundance, wealth, gift. So this very, very simple word in itself contains many hidden messages and meanings. It means presence, mindfulness, awareness. It means going deeper within yourself and within others, right? Unveiling the hidden layers that are not visible to the eye. It means a source of energy, something that guides us and is a force for life, a force for good. And it is also a gift, something that we can give to ourselves, as well as something that we can give to others. Very often, the word aroha would be used with another word in Polynesian language, aroha nui. And together, aroha nui means someone that is large, great, that gives a lot to other people, that is open to other people. So we see this concept of aroha in itself, in its composition, containing many meanings and many hidden messages. Aroha is part of what we would call the 3 key values that are found in Mataranga Maori, so the cultural sphere of the indigenous population Maori in New Zealand. So aroha as a concept of love is side by side with the concept of justness and correctness. This is the concept denoted by tika, and the concept of pono, which denotes faith and integrity. And in Maori cultural sphere, aroha is one side of a two-sided coin. The other side is spirituality. So there is a very, very strong connection between love as a life energy, as a philosophy, and spirituality on the other hand, right? As we've said, aroha also means to be present, to be mindful, to focus, to concentrate, and spirituality very often can be used as a vehicle for that presentness and mindfulness. However, when we translate the word aroha in English language or other languages, including Slovenian, very often it gets simplified to a simple word of love. Now, even if we simplify aroha to this one word, love, it is important to emphasize that we are talking about love as a capital with a capital L. So love with a capital L, that means much more than just an emotion, right? It means all-encompassing, all-abiding, infinite love. The Maori, when they use the word aroha, they use it in many different contexts. And it is not until you start interacting with them that you actually realize how powerful the concept of aroha actually is and how it can be used in many different contexts. It is used to denote love and affection. It is used to show respect towards other people, but particularly respect to the natural environment and the planet, right? Love towards Mother Earth, love towards the ocean, love towards the mountains that represent our ancestors and so on. Love is, or aroha, is also used as a gift. It denotes generosity, right? Opening yourself up to other people, being present when dealing with other people, right? Being vulnerable. Those are all the ultimate gifts that we can give to others. And aroha also means compassion, starting with self-compassion, right? Not being too hard on yourself, understanding that you're trying to do your best, understanding who you are, where you come from, being compassionate to yourself, as well as showing compassion to others. So in Mataranga Maori, in the cultural sphere of the indigenous population of New Zealand, aroha is an expansive concept. It is a relational philosophy, as well as practice and everyday behavior. There are many different proverbs that denote the power and the function of aroha. But with leadership behavior in particular, the most often used proverb is hetangata aroha kitetangata, denoting a person that is concerned and mindful of others. And when it comes to leadership behavior and leaders, rangatira in Maori, this is kind of seen as one of the most ultimate characteristics of strong and powerful leaders. Leaders that lead through the philosophy of aroha. However, when we look at Western management literature and Western management theories and concepts, we see that love is surprisingly largely absent in the modern corporation. We usually don't teach about love in management textbooks. Very rarely do we hear managers or leaders talk about love, right? So we kind of see two different worlds. In the indigenous world, aroha is a central concept, a philosophy, a pillar, one of the key characteristics of great leaders. But in the Western world, we see love completely absent from modern management and modern corporations. However, if we start looking at specific types of leadership, love does start to pop out, particularly when it comes to ethical leadership, where love is also mentioned in the Western literature. Love also means a feeling of wholeness, harmony, and well-being. How would we practice love? Love, particularly in a management context, is usually practiced through compassion, through patience, acceptance, care, concern, appreciation, first and foremost for yourself, as well as others and the planet. And one of the reasons why love is such an important tenet within indigenous culture and indigenous cultural leaders is because it is seen as a very powerful source for guidance and power. And in that regard, love can also be seen as a wellspring of leadership power, as a force for good, but also as a very powerful tool or vehicle for leaders to guide and interact with others. I would like to conclude this short kind of introduction about aroha with a military anecdote. So one of the most highly decorated US Army Major Generals, John H. Stanford, who passed away quite a few years ago, when he retired, he was asked about his life and the learnings that he amassed in his life. And it was really interesting to see a military person, a major general, coming from the military, talking about love. And he said, "I have the secret to success in life. The secret of success is to stay in love. Staying in love gives you the fire to ignite other people, to see inside other people, to have a greater desire to get things done than other people. A person who is not in love doesn't really feel the kind of excitement that helps them to get ahead and to lead others and to achieve. I don't know any other fire, any other thing in life that is more exhilarating and is more positive a feeling than love is." And it's quite surprising that a military man, a major general, in the end talks about the power of love of love as a fire and as a force for good. If you're more interested on the things that we've discussed in this brief presentation, I would like to draw your attention to two, or I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the third book, AEIOU Leadership, that kind of incorporates more of a indigenous philosophy into leadership. The first one is Wayfinding Leadership, published by Huya Publishers here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, that talks about the leadership philosophies of indigenous people, Maori, here in New Zealand. The other one is a recent book by Hinemona Elder, talking about the concept of aroha and the Maori wisdom behind aroha. And let me finish my presentation with a very famous Maori proverb that goes, aroha mahi, aroha atu, meaning love and compassion are given, love and compassion shall be received. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and I'll hand it over to Sonia now.
Wow, thank you, Mateusz, to bringing us all the dimensions of aroha and to remind us that aroha, oha from aroha, means also that we are gift to each other. Yes. Wow. And today, on the World's Earth Day, it's also the time to see how can we be gift for the earth, not just the earth as a gift for us, for the humankind. And I think this is the time that I will invite Violeta, the fire bearer for Oikos, and she's also the curator of Eco-Civilization movement. And she will present a way how humankind can be a gift for the planet, for the new civilization. So Violeta, welcome.
Thank you very much, Sonia, and thank you, Mateusz, for this incredible presentation. Really, it opens so many dimensions, and we could just stay with that and discuss that the whole meeting. But thank you for giving me a chance to bring yet another dimension into this discussion, which Sonia so nicely opened, is about the planet, is about this beautiful Earth that it's unique in the galaxy, probably in the universe altogether. And it's time that we awakened our love for our Mother Earth as well. And who else to look at for wise advice and the relationships that they nurtured so well than to the old tribes and to the old wisdoms that survived thousands and thousands of years. And there is also an old saying that says, if something survived 4, 5, 6,000 years, there has to be something that serves humanity well to be able to preserve it. And based on these vibes from the old tribes that Sonia so nicely connected and brought a new meaning through the AEIOU model, I'd like to introduce you to something that might just be the ticket for our survival, as I often say, or just a joining thought within which each of us can find its space and activate its loving vibes. There is also a wisdom in the world of astrophysics who say that love is not an emotion. Love is an essential energy of the space, and that's where we should be getting all our strength in order to co-create the world where we really can live in peace and activate all our creative potentials. So based on all that, over the years and years of sort of experiencing life, this thought of eco-civilization was created. And Sonia, allow me to share the screen just to show a couple of models that emerged. And I'm so happy that we can so powerfully show the essential meaning of AEIOU in the development of holistic development of beings as well. Just give me a second, please. Oops, I can open up. The concept of eco-civilization and some new shared destination evolved out of the systemic thinking and out of the many discussions about, are we in the process of transformation as the civilization, Western civilization in particular, are we really at the verge of some sort of civilizational paradigm? I mean, when we look back, we acknowledge already at least 28 different civilizations that existed on planet Earth. And as we progress further, we are discovering more and more really incredible stories that this planet has hosted so far. But what is typical for all these civilizations is that they emerged in a certain period of time under certain conditions in a certain geographical area. And of course, they started to rise, they had their peaks, and eventually they also disappeared, some for hundreds of years before they were discovered. So what made us think that we will live forever? Is there something that is unique in this civilization that could give us hope? Well, certainly when we look around, we would say, well, no, yeah, we're going to go down the drain and humans will die with it. I'm a bit more optimistic, especially because there are some characteristics of this civilization that are keeping us together. For the first time ever, we have access to information that at every moment in time gives us a snapshot of what is going on around the entire planet. This new capacity that has never, at least that we know of, existed in the past, at least not to the masses, of course, give us a unique opportunity that instead of destroying ourselves and instead of just going down the drain with a certain characteristics, we could join forces and we use our creative force in order to progress and transform ourselves, because the new period will come. That is the law of systems. Systems are constantly transforming, and this is the sort of a dance between entropy and syntropy. And so far, everything, all the civilization just went way directly down into the entropy channel. But today, with all the information and all the capacity to engage, hopefully we can find enough strength in ourselves in order to transform. So in this kind of setup, mindset, if I can say, the couple of important thoughts started to emerge. One of them is that the systems are coexisting and they are interfering with each other and they're influencing each other all the time. So being on a level of individual, being on the level of some sort of organization, society, or even planet as a whole. And based on that, then this proposal of a new possible shared destination, which I call eco-civilization, started to emerge. And I felt when these models started to appear and started to challenge me, they showed that we cannot just change our values. We cannot just change the way how we interact. We cannot just change the way how we create something fresh and new. What is even more important, we need to go down to the roots, to the way how we understand ourselves, the society, who we are, what we are, and under which values and under which umbrella of thought we engage together. So with that, I introduce to you the model that, of course, is a subject of a discussion, is a subject of, it needs to be challenged, it needs to be further discussed, but I hope it serves as a good thought, a good provocation that we can engage over and work together towards something even more stable or even more inclusive. So let me just go through very quickly key points of eco-civilization. What we are realizing right now is that on the local level, on a regional level, on even on a continental level, we've started to get trapped in some sort of schemes, some sort of structures that are rigid. And when the spirit is awakening, and when our consciousness is awakening, where we're becoming more and more aware what's going on around us, we can no longer function freely in these rigid structures. But because the systems have this real strong force in them for a survival to fight back, of course, the struggle started to happen. And we see it everywhere. And what all civilizations are teaching us is that when this struggle started to grow, something will happen from the natural systems, either pandemic or a climate change or as very severe weather conditions that go on for a period of time and then bring down even the stronger civilizations. We all know that now. We just can look at our closest proofs like Sumerians or Rome or even powerful Chinese empires. Everything was at one point really strong. And then due to this particular system interventions, it came down and disappeared, really, completely. So that's kind of pushed us deeper to look at the structures themselves as well. So not only the way how we, our attitude towards nature is, not only the way how we interact with each other, but we need to pay attention also to where are we focusing our energy. So what I'm proposing here is that instead of thinking about functions, processes, let's ask ourselves, what is the essence of life? What are the core entities that our life is developing around? And this is the model that I propose to you. Beings on one hand, and beings meaning humans, animals, plants, even bacteria and viruses, and even a blob if you want. So everything that gives the dynamic to this planet Earth. The next one is a society. Everything that we, every structure that we gather around, that we use in order to function better. Then is the land. It's this incredible Mother Earth with its physical appearance, where which is our home. She holds us, that we can stand on something solid and, of course, act as beings. And there is a wisdom, the consciousness full of experiences and everything that ever happened in this concept of life. You know, quantum physics helps us here a lot when it says that nothing disappears. Everything that ever existed is a frequency, and every frequency, when it joins together, holds the memory of all the frequencies it consists of. So that itself should really add additional meaning to the concept of love, to the vibration of aroha. And last but not least, all these four core entities are in constant relationship, and this relationship is a dynamic state. And what we're proposing here is that instead of building the rigid structures within we try to evolve, that we really establish dynamic structures that are constantly readjusting to where we as beings, we as society, we as the wisdom, the consciousness, and we as a land want to develop too. So I hope I am clear enough. So instead of, for example, having a rigid structure for education or industry or science or any other structure that you can think of you have in your organizations today, instead of making it as a rigid structure, you put it in a dynamic state, which means I'm constantly asking myself, who do I serve? And is the way how I'm serving either a human being, animals, plants, the Mother Earth, am I serving it for the benefits of its development? We never ask if our school system is fit for the needs of our kids. No, we keep pushing kids into this rigid educational system. And when they come out, the companies look at them and say, what should I do with them? They don't have a knowledge, they don't have a capacity, they don't have a characteristics, they don't have competences in order to engage. Are you with me? So on these premises, of course, there is an incredible importance of AEIOU. Sonia and I go way back. We were schoolmates at the university, and we kind of followed each other through the entire life since then. But we really started to engage when we started to discuss systems with each other. And when she came up with AEIOU model, there was no doubt that this is what the essence of beings in the model of eco-civilization is. So I now rely on her wisdom and entire network to constantly teach us and help us to develop and understand the essence of beings. And through that, of course, to be able to challenge ourselves, and as I'm going to propose now to you, to see the Mother Earth as an ecozone of our galaxy. There is no doubt that we will go and explore new planets, and we will try to create life on other planets within our galaxy, maybe even beyond. Because there is no untapped territories on the planet Earth. So this curiosity, this eagerness that has been driving all the migrations around the world most of the time will take us further, there's no doubt. But let us make sure that while doing that, we don't destroy our home, because as you all know, it is really nice to go home. Yeah, in spite of the fact that our spirit is taking us on our path in many different dimensions. In order to really appreciate that, we also know that new physics will have to be revealed. The same as Einstein's work has been so dramatic and with the long-lasting consequences on the way how we relate to the world. I am convinced that beyond quantum physics, soon we will discover the new laws of nature that will help us to understand what the relationship is all about, to be able to see the power of love, to be able to really understand the meaning of aroha, as something that our ancestors have sensed all the time, and with our rational mind, we kind of pushed it aside. And now this rational mind, I'm sure, will develop the tools that will bring all this back, and we will make a cross-civilizational integration, and through that grew much stronger and be able to co-create some sort of spillover into the new civilizational paradigm without completely destroying ourselves. And that's why I do believe that the essence of the new civilizational paradigm will be relationships, the same as technologies today. That doesn't mean technology will disappear, but every civilization is teaching us that the core element of the value creation of previous civilization was replaced by something else. So I dare to think, and I'm inviting you to continue to challenge yourself, me, and everyone else in this circle, to go beyond technology and think what else could be as powerful as a change maker, as a real society construct. And I dare to propose that that will be the relationship which we will understand through the new laws of physics. So I'm really happy and proud that our efforts through eco-civilization, and where the AEIOU vibe was extremely important in order to go further and to also go beyond just Slovenian borders and be part of such a discussion as this one today. A couple of weeks ago, we were recognized as one of the 100 global projects that for the future, which will co-create the prosper future for this planet Earth. I'm extremely honored and humbled in front of Sonia, who is willing to lead the Slovenian node. We made a commitment that in the next 2 years, we will create 100 eco-civilization nodes and take AEIOU in at least 100 countries around the world. But I'm sure Sonia will add one additional one that will push the development even further. So without further ado, I would like to say thank you very much again for the opportunity to show the incredible importance of AEIOU vibration in the overall picture of potential human development in the future. And let's hope for a new opportunity for planet Earth and us with it in a new destination called eco-civilization. Thank you very much, Sonia, and back to you.
Great, Violeta, and really congratulations for eco-civilization to be one of 100 really important elevating points to create a brighter future for all of us. Wow, yes, and eco-civilization, you said it's important that we need to learn from the life itself. And where's the life? There are networks. There are not rigid structures. There is a fluidity. And this is something we need to bring back to our organizations. And when you said that there's a dance between entropy and syntropy, I would just add that syntropy is love.
Yes.
It's the energy of love.
Indeed, the creative power of nature.
Yes. And with that, I invite all of us in our connecting rooms. I don't like the name break rooms. In connecting rooms, I will invite you into the rooms of four or three people, and please focus your time on exchanging, on really getting to know each other and thinking about what are the very simple and elegant steps we can make, each of us can make to really lead with the spirit of Aroha. And you will have 10 minutes. And I would like to invite you also that you nominate one of you who will share your findings, your ideas in the chat with us. Enjoy in your connecting rooms and see you in 10 minutes as said. Great, rooms are waiting for you. Welcome back. I
Priscila,
assume
nós
it
não
was,
пришли назад.
yes, I assume it was nice because you all waited till the last second. And I will invite one of you to share what was going on in your connecting rooms and ask others to really share in the chat. Patrick,
Thank you.
welcome.
Glad to be here. You guys are wonderful. Slovenia. Don't say Slovenia anymore. It's Slovenia. Okay. I had a great group, I got to tell you. And we felt that love is not the source. Love is a result. When we're good to each other and we deeply care for each other and we do kindness for one another, love ensues in those moments when others do things for us when they must not. And that we should make love instead of speaking of love. So we should have 10 times 5 minutes in rooms of 4. We probably would have met everyone else that's in the room today. And in those moments, love could have happened. It could have happened that Claudia and Stanley had a moment and would be in love for the rest of their lives. We don't know. We didn't try. So we felt love is a result, and we should stop talking about it and we should do it, which I think is I like the make love thing. So let's not help the planet. Let's just make a lot of love. Then we'll help the planet, because without love, we won't help the planet. So I think that hopefully my friends in the group, and we had the greatest guy ever, Jonathan Cave. How cool is that name? Cave, the man from the cave. And he just inspired us from the car in Switzerland. And it was beautiful. And we had Monica and Blanca, angels in the room. And so, yeah, let's go make love.
Great. Great. Yes. And we will make love right now, because I will invite the Ubuntu fire bearer, Barbara, the heart coach, to create with us a flow of love. Barbara, go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, Sonia. Maybe just let me start with taking the pressure off myself by this heart coach thing, because it's kind of feel, oh, now I should know everything about the coach and be the coach for that. Basically, you know, why the heart coach is there is primarily to coach myself to be in the heart. I'm a very mind-driven person. So I'll be doing this with you. And along the way, I've practiced with a couple of people. Mainly what we're doing today, part of the practice will be from HeartMed. I'm a HeartMed coach. And today in the HeartMed community, we are broadcasting love and appreciation for the Mother Earth. And the other part, I'm part of the AEIOU Center, which is connected to Earth, where we do often the earth work. A group actually just came back from the caves here in South Africa, where they have been doing work to clear the song lines. And then there's other work that comes in from Chloe Goodchild's Naked Voice. And why I'm mentioning all this, because when I will be leading you now through the connection with love within ourselves, I will be using parts of all this. So I want to acknowledge all these groups and everybody, all my teachers, from which have been the source of what I'll be using today. Before we go into this and we actually go into the meditation and connection, there were a couple of words and thoughts that I want to share, and they are based on my experience and my learning.